Hello. What's up, everyone? How are we doing? I need to turn this down a bit so I can hear myself think. I'll turn it up for you, though. Let me know if it's too loud or too quiet or too much, or if you need a break. Let me know. Okay. Guys, part 2 of the research stream. We're actually going to be doing real research today, not just FNAF research. So, a part of what I wanted to do was like, hey, I have a degree, right? I have a degree. I'll use it for funsies, you know, nothing serious, just for funsies to, like, make a FNAF script, right? So, my idea is, so my degree, for those who don't know, my degree is in child and adolescent development. I would like to consider myself to have a minor in, like, FNAFology, but it's in human services. So, I thought, hey, I also did my thesis, like my undergrad capstone, on the effects of adverse childhood experiences on executive functioning and emotion regulation development. And I am currently in grad school for a related thing. Like getting my master's for professional psych. And then like keeping it going to get like my CAGs in school psych. So I thought, hey, it would be fun to do actual research. So I did a little bit of research before stream because I couldn't stream as early as I wanted to today. I wanted to stream around noon Eastern. It's now 5:46. I wasn't allowed to use the internet. So, or like use as much internet as I do when streaming. So, it says on YouTube that my stream would be buffering because it's not receiving enough video. I don't know what it's even talking about. Anyway, today we're going to be doing actual research, guys. You are going to accompany me if you so please. It's not like I'm forcing you to be here. It would be nice if you joined me. You are going to come with me on the adventure to do actual research. You're gonna learn what it's like to do actual research, guys. Isn't that so fun? I mean, we can still refer to the FNAF wiki, FNAF theories wiki, if need be. I do think we got a good chunk of information yesterday. Let's review the doc. So we have the doc. We did color code it by games, books, movies. Why is this playing for so long? It's just the same song. Oh, I see. I played the wrong OST playlist. Yeah, that first video was just the title screen music for 10 minutes. So, oops. Not the main menu again, please. Okay. So, let me turn it up for you. Great. So, we have the Word doc. We have games, books, movies. So, now that I'm kind of thinking about it, I don't know if I should do this. I don't want it to come across like I am, like, psychoanalyzing the characters in this video game franchise, or to, like, is this a good idea? Well, we're in too deep now, so whatever. Anyway, so I have it sorted. So everything written down so far is everything we wrote down yesterday from the wiki, like from the FNAF Theories wiki for WillCare. And like everything that isn't highlighted is like my comments. So everything yellow is from the games, everything green is from the movie, everything pink is from the books. I am trying to prioritize things from the games, but I will consider books and movie stuff as like supplemental evidence for my argument. So the first part of the notes is everything under the like evidence section for WillCare on the wiki. So it's like Mike works for him in sister location, Elizabeth works for him in sister location and FFPS and in the books, and both Vanessa and Michael work for him in the movies. But it literally says on the wiki under that, in evidence, that it could be a result of manipulation abuse. Okay? It also says that Vanessa is seen as more of an unwilling participant. Or no, I wrote that. That's my comment. But it's about the movie. So I highlighted it green. So I made a comment, like, Vanessa is seen as more of an unwilling participant. Because she knows what's going on. She doesn't want to be a part of it, you know? Michael seems to be more interested in following in his father's footsteps. However, he doesn't have a ton of screen time, so we might not be able to fully understand his character until the FNAF 3 movie, if he's in it. I'm assuming he would be. I feel like they wouldn't have introduced him just for like 5 minutes, but also it's Scott Cawthon, so who knows? Who knows what's going on? We have like evidence for like certain sub theories, I guess. Like we had, so if Will Plush is real, then we have it like it's considered evidence if he like used the Fredbear plush as a security system or like method of overseeing crying child and like to comfort him. But I also made a comment, see WillDon'tCare, because I have WillCare, WillDon'tCare. The like Fredbear plush dialogue, if it's him, he's a jerk. He's the worst. Like he literally says he hates you. And he like I guess he like is a little comforting sometimes. Like pre-night 1, he's like, don't be scared, I'm here with you. Or like tries to help him, I guess, but we as the player don't really understand what the risk is. Risk is. Ugh! Oh, my cursor went over heading. I was like, I literally didn't click anything. That scared me. So night 2, he says, he left without you. He knows you hate it here. You are right beside the exit. If you run, you can make it. Hurry, run toward the exit. No! Don't you remember what you saw? The exit is the other way. Hurry and leave. It's too late. Hurry the other way and find someone who will help. You know what will happen if he catches you. You can find help. If you get past them, you have to be strong. So I guess it can be seen as like being helpful, but also like we don't know what the crying child saw. We still don't know. I think it was a Charlie Emily-ism. Like I feel like him seeing someone being put into a suit like an employee being put into a suit would be too obvious. Like, his dad works there, blah blah blah. I feel like he like saw Charlie get killed or whatever. But then if William's the plush, he would know that he saw. Don't you remember what you saw? I don't ask me. I don't know. You're broken. We're still your friends. Do you believe that? I'm still here. I will put you back together. Okay. Well, back to WillCare evidence. So under Will's speaker, like I just said, he promises the crying child is gonna put them back together. I think it's not as nice as people think it is. See Guts Theory. We can rewatch the clip where T-Dreads talks about this line specifically. I think it's more malicious than like, oh, remnant soul juice. I think it's like him like putting his like brain in like Golden Freddy or whatever, or like Fredbear. Ancestor location, according to the End of Night voice lines from Elizabeth. He tried to prevent Elizabeth from interacting with or approaching Baby since she could die, and made the Funtime animatronics and Baby for her, which, according to the wiki, implies he cared for her. Which, this could just be from her perspective. Or at least, like, the making it for her. Like, didn't you make it just for me? Like, kids are so egocentric. Like, unless he outright said, I made these for you, Elizabeth Afton, my daughter, whom I love, by the way. Unless he says that, I don't think he said it for real. Unless we see him say it, or like hear him say it. For him, like, preventing Elizabeth from interacting with and like approaching Baby, all he said was like, don't do that. He didn't put any like safeguards in place. Like, he made the animatronics, the Funtime animatronics, to lure, capture, kill kids. Or lure and capture kids. And or kill kids. So he definitely, if he's like as amazing as like a technician as like the games make him seem like he is, then he could like put some sort of safeguard in place, like, hey, if you see this face, if you scan this face, don't talk to her. She's my daughter, don't do that. He could have done that, but he didn't. For the FPS scrap trap to killing dialogue, where he says, bitter, sweet, but fitting. The wiki says this is because he killed his own son, if, like, Mike is the protagonist in FPS. Which I think is dumb. I think in my gut, oh, the music's a little loud. It, like, wasn't playing for you for a sec. Anyway. In my gut, I feel like it's not because he's killing Mike. I think it's more of, like, the final showdown of it all, like the face-off. Like, FFPS was supposed to be the finale of the series. I think it's like, he says like, oh, it's bittersweet but fitting because like it's him and like it's Mike and Henry like teaming up, and like they do have that history. Like, he is his son, he is his former like co-worker, founder, owner, co-owner guy, but also like he could think it's bittersweet that like Mike is turning against him, you know? It could be like, I'm gonna actually write that down so I don't forget, because I'm saying all this on the fly. Could be bittersweet because of Henry and Mike V versus William and Elizabeth, or because Mike is like turning against him. So he could think it's like a betrayal, but also kind of like entertaining. Like he kind of wants to see how it plays out. I don't know. He's sick in the head, so who knows. So that's it for game evidence for WillCare. For book evidence, besides like Elizabeth working for him, in the week before, Ralph hears the bite at 83. New edition alert! Woo woo! He like here's something that we don't see in the original FNAF 4 minigame, which is like a man yelling at Foxy Bro and co to put Crying Child down before they killed him. Wiki says it's a like it can be implied that it's him, but who says? It could be another employee. It could be Henry. It could be a parent. Literally anyone's parent, whoever. It doesn't have to be him. I think that argument's dumb. Like, sure, you can think it's him. It doesn't say it is. So, like, it's not like evidence. It's like oh, maybe, I guess, but it doesn't fit his character. In the FNAF 2 movie, in Vanessa's dream, William literally says it says that, okay, he says, "Don't you know how much I love you?" or like care about you, as like he's like chasing her with a knife or whatever. The wiki literally says, copy paste, "This is almost certainly a form of a manipulation, though it is notable that he still feels the need to try to convince her of it." Okay, it is notable that he feels the need to say this, but adding though doesn't make it not a form of manipulation. I dropped something on the floor. Okay. WillDon'tCare. Me. So I have it games, books, movie for like each part, but I also have the games in game order for the most part, because like some theories like that I have in here are across games, like Mike Accomplice, things like that. So FNAF 4, he's literally an absent father. We never see him. If Will Plush is real, he is like around, but he doesn't like do anything to stop Mike, Foxy Bro, from tormenting Crying Child and getting bullied. Yeah, we talked about the Plush dialogue, how like kind of weird to use as evidence. Like, sure, he like comforts him a little, but he's also like so let's say the nightmare animatronics are nightmares, right? That's why they're called nightmare animatronics, and it's like illusion disc, gas, mischief, or whatever. Fun, like William Afton experiment hijinks. He's like feeding into it, right? Like, he's also, like, making him feel bad. Like, he left without you. He knows you hate it here. Like, hurry, run toward the exit. No, don't you remember what you saw? The exit's the other way. Hurry and leave. It's too late. Hurry the other way and find someone who will help. You know what will happen if he catches you. Like, what are you talking about? That's supposed to be like, aw, he's so loving. Aw, I love my children. Like, no. That is not what he's doing. Under Mike Experiments, so, okay. Mike Experiments is Michael Afton is experiencing the, like, nightmare experiments from William. Mike Dreamer is the protagonist. Like, you play as Mike during the night, like, sequences of FNAF 4. So, under Mike Experiments and Mike Dreamer, William is making him experience nightmares for yummy agony, so tasty. I forget why I said that. But that's what I said. I said, for yummy agony, so tasty. In Sister Location, William does nothing practical to prevent Elizabeth from approaching Baby, only tells her not to. He also does this in the novel trilogy. He is more than likely aware that she is possessing Baby, yet he, instead of, like, trying to help her, trying to, like, release her soul, trying to, like, let her rest, he keeps her in a bunker underground, presumably, like, under the house, Fazburger. Still, like, she's not living in the house. She's in, like, a metal bunker underground, trapped in this animatronic that killed her, presumably also going out and killing other children, or, like, at least capturing other children, because, like, according to the blueprints, it could be argued whether or not, like, the intent was for them to kill. I can pull them up. And he allows her to get electric shocks rather than helping her, like, to, like, sedate her pretty much, or, like, keep her at bay. Even if the technicians are the ones administering the shocks, he's still allowing it to happen. And, like, there were no fail-safes to protect Elizabeth, specifically from Baby. Like, that seemed to be, like, the concern. If he's like, don't approach Baby, don't talk to Baby, stay away from the animatronics, then, like, put something in place. She's a kid. Like, she's not gonna listen to every word you say. Which I bet he hated. I bet he hated she didn't listen to every word he said. In Pizzeria Simulator, if William Afton is Yellow Guy in Midnight Motorist, he is shown to be an abusive alcoholic. The wiki also says that under Mike Runaway, which is, like, the kid who ran away from home in Midnight Motorist, if that's Michael Afton, the abuse might have been targeted on him post-bite. I believe that he was abusive the whole time. But that's me. Security breach, under Shared Afton Past, which is, like, the therapy tapes are a reflection of the Afton family, like William, Mrs. Afton, Elizabeth. If Vanessa's therapy tapes reflect the life of the Afton family, William's shown to be at least manipulative, if not controlling and abusive. The wiki also, like, made something up. It said, like, Mrs. Afton was divorcing him for, like, quitting his job and, something else. And it's like, it says that nowhere. Yesterday on stream, we went through the transcript of all the therapy tapes. No, that was not said. In both the games and the movies, William attempts to kill his own children. Vanessa and Mike. In the games, he sends Mike into the secure location bunker where he had a high likelihood of dying. And under Mike Guard, which is like he's the protagonist, and under Mike FFPS, where you play as him in Pizzeria Simulator, he attempts to murder Mike himself in FNAF 3 and Pizzeria Simulator. The wiki said that under Will Grief, which is like, oh, he started to kill as a result of his grief or whatever, he may have lost love for or like grew to hate Mike post-bite. But I just feel like a parent who doesn't already have like some sort of resentment or like negative feeling toward their child, I feel like they wouldn't try to kill them, you know? That's just me. He literally stabs Vanessa in the FNAF 1 movie. And in her dream. Under movie clues. Oh yeah, I talked about this before. So movie clues is the theory that like you can use the movie to like help to either better understand the games or like predict future events in the games. Yeah, William in the FNAF 1 movie chases Vanessa with a knife, saying, "Don't you know how much I care about you? Don't you know how much I will care?" So I guess, yeah, so Vanessa's dream, he says he loves her, which I, like, in my note head, I, like, switched the two around in my head, but that's what we have so far. So let's do some research. I will we talked about the notes for 30 minutes. That's crazy. Oh, Midnight Motorist. That's fun. I'm going to pull up the FNAF Theories wiki, and I'll pull up the FNAF wiki, just in case we need it. I would pull it up. I have two windows of my browser open because my school is like all over my browser, so I pulled them up over there. So here's what a research database looks like, guys. Turn the music down a little bit. Let me know if it's too loud. But yeah, this is what a research database looks like. So this is PsycInfo. You can put so many little filters. Here's what I usually do when I'm doing research. I look for peer-reviewed. I choose English because I can't read other languages and I need to be able to read the research. Because I can't rely on like Google Translate to translate it. Also, sometimes you can't translate it. Because we are looking at like the effects of this treatment on like parental bonds, I set the age groups for childhood, which is birth to 12, and adolescence 13 to 17. I did already find some articles before stream that I hadn't got, like I didn't get a chance to look through them. I pretty much just was like, oh, this looks related. So here are the three. So it's, okay. I am glad that I cropped my browser a certain way, because literally my college is right here. That's crazy. Oh, wait. You can see my school still. I'll read you the title and then I'll scroll down. Ready? So it's child maltreatment, parent-child relationship quality, and parental monitoring in relation to adolescent behavior problems, disaggregating between and within person effects. Okay, great. Now I'll show you my screen again. Awesome. So I was like, I felt like it was related. At least the effect on like parent-child relationship quality. Their definition of parental monitoring refers to parenting behaviors involving attention to and tracking of the child's whereabouts, activities, adaptations. Child's whereabouts and activities, you say? You mean like FNAF 4? Like him being, if he is Will Plush, him being aware of crying child's whereabouts and activities, but also his lack of monitoring of Mike, which then results in Cece dying. Always looking for the connection. Okay. Let's, okay, the current study. Okay, so it's a longitudinal study. It looks like it's a meta-analysis, which a meta-analysis is like looking over the literature of a certain subject to then like, or going into like looking into the literature in a certain subject with like a hypothesis and seeing like if it supports your hypothesis. So the hypothesis here was that high levels of parent-child relationship quality and parental monitoring would be related to fewer internalizing and externalizing behavior problems. Which I feel like, I mean, I was a teenager. I would, if I had a younger sibling, I wouldn't be like, I think it would be a good idea and a smart idea and a really good idea to put the head of my younger sibling into an animatronic's mouth. That'd be, no. Another hypothesis was, variation around an average level of these behaviors, like a reduction in parent-child relationship quality that's typical for a particular dyad, which is like 2 people, would also impact adolescent behaviors such as lower than average levels of these behaviors would be associated with more behavior problems, and higher than average levels of these behaviors would be associated with fewer. Second hypothesis was that child maltreatment would interact with parent-child relationship quality and parental monitoring to further explain level and change in behaviors over time. So the sample, I mean, it is a meta-analysis, so it is going to be a very large sample size, but 1,300, okay. From 5 different geographic sites in the U.S. Okay, so they narrowed the sample down to 941. Because they either didn't provide any data about internalizing, externalizing behavior problems, parent-child relationship quality, or parental monitoring at age 12, 14, or 16. Assessments, or the study covariates at the age 12 assessment. Okay. No significant differences between the sample they have and the sample the participants they excluded. According to maltreatment status between the ages of birth and 12, maltreatment status between the ages of 12 and 16, gender, race, age, or location. Okay. Okay. Not married. Which we actually don't know if William was married. If shared Afton past is true, he's divorced. But also hard find, I think, that the sex is so split, 50.6% female. That's crazy. Confirmed child maltreatment birth to age 12, 50.3%. Confirmed maltreatment between ages 12 and 16, 5.4%. Okay. Well, I feel like if my argument is that William didn't just start being abusive all of a sudden, he was to some degree, then with the sample size, half of them having experienced maltreatment between the ages of birth and 12 is good to know. Okay, so they used confirmed childhood maltreatment measured through coding of official case records. Okay. 2 separate dummy-coded variables, one representing confirmed maltreatment occurring between birth and 12, second occurring 12 and 16. Okay. Guys, this is so fun. Aren't we so glad that we're doing this together? Okay. So they did the child behavior checklist, which 113 items. That's a lot. Okay, I know it's a meta-analysis, or at least I think it is. It seems like it. They didn't use the words meta-analysis, but it seems like a meta-analysis. The volume keeps changing for you guys. I'll turn it up. So it's not like the people doing this particular study had to score them themselves, but that sounds so tedious. Okay. Unless it's they did it electronically. Okay, so the child behavior checklist, 113 items. Frequency of a specific problem over the last 6 months using a 3-point Likert scale, which is 0, not true, 1, somewhat, sometimes true, 2, very true, often true. Possible range for internalizing and externalizing was 0 to 62 and 0 to 66. Okay, so this is the descriptive stats for the main study variables. So we have the maltreatment group, which is 473 participants here. Comparison group, which is participants who had not experienced maltreatment. 468 of them here. So, for those who don't know, what a p-value is, you're gonna learn some stats. So something is, like, a relationship is considered, like, statistically significant if the p-value is less than 0.05. And, like, as it gets lower, it gets more and more significant. So if something has 1 asterisk, that's how you say it, right? Yeah. It is still significant, just not as significant as 2 or 3. So we have the maltreatment group, comparison group, total sample. So externalizing behaviors, it looks like there isn't a relationship, really, between like, it looks like experiencing maltreatment isn't a factor, or wasn't a factor with either group, but the overall sample, like, there was a significant portion, or like a significant rating. Same, like, externalizing, internalizing, parent-relationship quality, it looks like it's the same. Like, same kind of situation. Same with parental monitoring, that's age 12. And it looks like it's the same for all of them. Like, there is no significance in these scores, but as a whole sample, there is. For every one, actually. The only one that is only 0.05 is internalizing behaviors, which is interesting. Especially because it's a little more than half female. And girls tend to experience more internalizing problems post-trauma than externalizing. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so the parent-child relationship quality, they used an adapted measure. So there were only 6 items, which is interesting. Oh. And the caregivers filled it out. Why did only the caregivers fill it out? You would think that you would want both of their input. Especially if it's like, if it's questions like, how close do you feel to your child? How often do you and them get along? It's a 5-point Likert scale. Why? Okay. Interesting. See, these are things we have to keep in mind. If I was writing a report, I would be like, that's a limitation of the study. Why didn't they ask the kids? Who knows? Parental monitoring. Also, only 5 items on the report, or like on the assessment. Also, only caregiver report. To the extent to which they know about their child's friends and activities on like a 3-point scale. Why? That's so interesting. If you ask me what this means, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. I don't want to look at that. Okay. I'm not gonna look at that. No, I will. Ugh. Okay. Multi-level model for externalizing. Okay. I haven't looked at stats like this in Okay, so it looks like there was, for fixed effects, it looks like significance for like the relationship between externalizing problems and what? Just fixed effects in general? That doesn't seem right. I don't remember. I haven't had to do this in a bit. Let's look at something I remember, which is not fixed and random effects, which is the results. Haha! I know how to read results. And like discussion. Okay. So within person effects, so that's like, if you think of a table where it's like, so here's the difference between and within person effects. So within person effects is this kind of study where it's like trial 1 and trial 2, like one trial, like with certain conditions, and then trial 2 with different conditions. The same participants participate in both trials. Between person effects is like one group does one trial, one does the other. So for within person effects, there was a significant effect on both relationship quality and monitoring, on externalizing behavior problems, for between significant effects on the intercept of externalizing problems. Oh, okay, so it's like so it explains it here. Adolescents with greater relationship quality had fewer externalizing problems. So if you think about it, it's like, if you think of a graph, if you think of a slope, oh, there's a figure. Perfect. I don't want to download it. Open it in a new tab. Okay. So this is what the slope looks like, guys. So no child maltreatment, low parental monitoring is the bold. So it's like age, only internalizing? Anyway, this is what I mean. Like, where it's like, imagine the X, like on the bottom, is like relationship quality, where it's like low, high. And imagine the y-axis, which would be, in this case, behavior problems, which it is. So it's like the higher the quality of the relationship, the lower amount of behavior problems. Is this... okay. Ambient people... Hello? Okay. Great. So, hypothesis 2. So there's a significant interaction between parental monitoring and confirmed maltreatment in predicting adolescent internalizing behavior over time. Only internalizing? Okay. Maybe we'll use that. So we have this. Oh, okay. Forgot I was doing that. So it is childhood trauma histories in men and women assessed by the Childhood Attachment and Relational Trauma Screener, and the Global Psychotrauma Screener. It's like the results from traumatic stress, or from the global collaboration on traumatic stress. So I actually looked, and these guys actually made a trauma screener, and it looked okay. They had the carts. I looked up the carts. It looked pretty good. So the objective of the study is to compare biological sex differences in the long-term impact of childhood abuse and neglect on transdiagnostic mental health outcomes, especially comparing the outcomes of childhood maltreatment perpetrated by biological mothers versus fathers. See, guys, I picked it for a reason. So let's go. Here are the demographics. So 89% female. Crazy. But we do have more information about, like, I guess, his dynamic with Elizabeth. So, like, especially books. Like, he physically hits her in the books. So, parental status, 8 divorced, 2 separated. If we believe Matt Pat. Like, maybe they're still married, I don't know. Like, this chunk is crazy. Yeah. Psychiatric diagnosis, I think, is good to look at. Because, like, sure, we're not diagnosing. I think it's good to look at, like, symptomology to be like, these can be the effects, you know, rather than like, Michael Afton actually has this diagnosis. I'm actually writing a paper on that because I thought it would be funny to use Michael Afton. I was going to use Michael Afton. Okay, so for a paper, I have to write a case, like a fake case study on a child. It looks like it's too loud. I have to write a fake case study on a fake child, and I have to, like, talk about their background and talk about, like, how the symptomology, like, presents in their life, like, why they're getting the diagnosis. I was gonna do PTSD because of the bite, but then I was like, I actually was told I can't do that. Like, write a paper on PTSD. So I'm doing conduct disorder. Or at least I'm gonna try to make it work. I just want to use FNAF in my paper and have my professor be like, "Whoa, this storyline seems like all over the place. How did you write it?" And I'm like, "Well, have you ever heard of Scott Cawthon, the greatest writer on earth?" That. Okay, so this is the carts. It is the screener that they were doing for the study. Okay. So 13 subscales. To reduce, okay. Subscales: positive, secure, positive affect, negative feelings, emotionally abusive to self, emotionally abusive to others, physically abusive to self, physically abusive to others, negative beliefs to, negative beliefs from, bad things, possible abuse, sexual abuse. So the global psychotrauma screener, 22 items. Okay, so 17 items. Assess current mental health problems. including PTSD, disturbances in self-organization, anxiety, depression, sleep problems, self-harm, dissociation, substance abuse. The following 5 items assess risk factors like childhood trauma exposure, exposure to other recent stressful events, absence of social support, psychological non-resilience, history of mental illness. Procedure. Okay. Where are the graphs? Where are the charts? Okay. Here we go. Not a lot of people with... Or I guess, yeah, a lot of people with risk factors. Oh, okay. Females with childhood trauma. Okay, this is just like the... Okay, descriptive stats. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so a majority... Yeah, okay. Low resilience, other stressors, diagnosis, treatment... Aha, okay. Yeah, look at those stats, guys. P-values flying off the charts. The only one that isn't significant, isn't like super significant, is men low resilience. Which, I've never seen this in a study, which is crazy. Okay. So on the global psychometric scale, negative affect, negative feelings from, negative beliefs from, negative beliefs to, emotional abuse to self, emotional abuse to others, physical abuse to self, others, bad things, sexual abuse for females was like significant. The things that weren't were positive, secure, and positive affect. Males. Okay. So negative feelings from was significant, not like as significant as less than 0.001, but still significant. Because remember, significant p-value is anything less than 0.05. So significant, negative beliefs from, significant, negative beliefs to, significant, emotional abuse to self, others, yeah, this is all significant. Do adult males and females differ in their reported histories? Non-applicability. Responses. Oh, okay. So it looks like there was a significant difference in like how often they said like not applicable for certain things on the carts. So it looks like it was significant in like, I guess like the occurrence of like negative beliefs from others, emotional abuse to self, physical abuse to self, and sexual abuse, which, I mean, or no, almost, but not quite. Applicability to mother, we don't really care. Sorry, moms. We're kind of looking at the dads right now. Speaking of Midnight Motorist playing. Okay. Negative beliefs too. Emotional abuse to self. Physical abuse to self. Okay. So it looks like when, like, the applicability is on the father, it's more so I guess, like, the ripple effect, like, the consequences of that is more so self-directed. Any other tables? No. Okay. We have this study. I keep doing that. It is interplay between childhood maltreatment, parental bonding, and gender effects. And there is a subtitle, and I forget what it is. Impact on quality of life. Yes. That is the one. So, introduction, talking about Bowlby, yada yada yada. Method. What is the I'm sorry. I meant to say hypothesis, not psychiatrist. The present study examined differences in perceived parental bonding quality and depressive symptoms in subjects who reported significant childhood maltreatment compared with a group who did not report significant maltreatment in childhood. Aim was to determine whether parental bonding and severity of depressive symptoms are intermediates in the relationship between childhood maltreatment and quality of life in childhood, or in adulthood. Based on the literature discussed above, hypothesized that parental bonding would account for a significant proportion of the variance in this relationship, so it would act like a mediator, kind of. In addition, given the associations between both childhood maltreatment and parental bonding with depressions, it hypothesized that adult depressive symptoms would further account for some of the association between maltreatment and quality of life. Okay. Sample size. Does it say the sample size? Adults ages 18 to 65 were invited to participate. Okay. Okay, the measures. CTQ, pretty standard. Parental bonding instrument. Inventory for depressive symptomology. Quality of life, enjoyment, and satisfaction questionnaire. As someone who does a lot of trauma research, this is pretty standard. Why does it not say the... Oh. Okay. It throws me off when the when the sample size is not in the methods. Hello? Give me the method. Put it in the methods. Not like a sub thing of the methods. Subject characteristics, usually it's like this amount of people with these characteristics, like these demographics, with this, and it's like, okay. But so 72 participants were in the maltreatment group, 69 in the control group. That's kind of small. 42 participants were excluded because they had intermediate scores on the CTQ. Oh, like they didn't fall in one group or the other. Okay. Why are we looking at... Okay. I was gonna say, why are we only looking at maternal? Okay, this is the data for the paternal bonding. So it is on a So it looks like, oh, why did it do that? So paternal overprotection, paternal care, as it got like less, so it's like weak to optimal, and then same, or like not protective at all, overprotective. So like affectionate constraint, affectionless control, weak absent bonding, optimal bonding, care, overprotection. So it looks like there's, I mean, a non-zero amount who are in like the affectionless control, which I feel like is kind of like Willie A. William Afton. Hello everyone, my name's William Afton. Okay. I would like to know the breakdown of the CTQ results, please. Can I see the CTQ results, please? Gender effects. The first gender effect analysis determined differences in how subjects described bonding with their female parent in comparison to male. Okay. So, did it say, like, the CTQ results at all? I think I missed it. All it says is significant. What is the parental bonding instrument? Parental behaviors and attitudes that contribute to development of bonding experiences in childhood. In the form of abuse and or neglect. It's vague. Girl, give me something. I hate when studies do this. I need specifics. Give me some specifics. The first limitation is that we didn't say the specific category of maltreatment. Okay. Let's look at more FNAF theories. This is acronym glossary. Yippee! I don't know how I didn't put enough on. Okay. information. Let me pull up the characters, sub-articles, galleries. I would like the blueprints. Blueprint. Give me the blueprint. These are from... I thought that these were from... Pizzeria Simulator, but I guess I was wrong. Okay, yeah, so what I was saying before, with how they don't seem to have been designed to kill, more so capture. Storage tank. Room for a baby in there. He's only 6 foot? Come on. I thought these things were huge. Yeah, baby's 7 feet. Come on. Short king. Fun time Freddy. I'm sorry? What is this? Oh, Pop Goes. I was like, what is that? Okay. FNAF universe. Yeah, I'd freaking hope so. I'm on the FNAF wiki. Let's see. Main, or, characters. Interactive novel characters? What if, instead of reading the Silver Eyes trilogy, I look at the wiki? FNAF... Whisper Frights characters... Interactive novel trilogy characters. William Afton. Oh, so cute. Wow. Okay. Turn up the freaking volume. Or play something else. Okay. William Afton. I don't need to read about his appearance. I can see him very well. In his wheelchair, Peepaw Afton. Personality. William Afton is vile and selfish. He kills any witnesses to keep himself from getting caught, which shows his cowardly side. I like that characterization. Nevertheless, he is still a determined and extremely fierce serial killer who will not hesitate a single moment to get in a fight with any of his foes or murdering them for experiments. William is also rather ungrateful, having murdered Charlotte Emily despite the fact that if it wasn't for her father, then the franchise wouldn't have achieved its earlier success. Afton is also neglectful and physically abusive toward his daughter Elizabeth, who later on seemingly only accepted her once she became Circus Baby. Despite this, he still acts verbally abusive toward her. Can I get some lines? Any other mention of Elizabeth on here? Okay. Aha. Well, okay, often prioritizes work over his own family. He sometimes appears as a compassionate man, but like many serial killers, it is just a mere facade that he uses to manipulate others, especially children. Wow. He momentarily refers to his victims as his family. Wow. It's almost like would say his family was also his victims. Wow, that's crazy. Who would have thought? Who would have thunk it? Twisted ones. Da 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 da. Let's, yeah, Elizabeth Afton. Crazy picture, by the way. I like the ice cream shirt. I'm gonna keep this picture of her up. Originally the abused, neglected daughter of William Afton, she became obsessed with the clown animatronic that her father obsessively worked on and eventually went against his orders to stay away from it. Elizabeth would be killed and ultimately possess this animatronic, experiencing its memories and allowing it to comprehend the mistreatment it experienced. Oh, with its original creator, Emily. Okay. Elizabeth and the animatronic become a singular entity filled with hatred and longing. Sometime after this, she was reclaimed by Henry and trapped in a secret closet hidden within his house. Elizabeth would be trapped for years, experiencing the memory of Charlotte and Emily as she lived a life of which Elizabeth was robbed. On Charlie's 18th birthday, however, she began experiencing vivid nightmares of the closet and tracks the town. Once freed, Elizabeth will begin impersonating Charlie, while also aiding William in the opening of his new restaurant, where she would be the titular mascot, Circus Baby. Freddy Files. This sleeker humanoid animatronic serves William Afton, who calls her Elizabeth. I wonder why. The true origins of this animatronic are shrouded in mystery, but today she serves only the interests of her twisted father, in quotes, in her own bloody, vengeful interests. Girl, let's see your personality. Desperate to be loved by William, wanting to be the focus of attention like Circus Baby was, of his attention. Her love for William made her eager to get his attention, persisting despite his abusive nature toward her. Elizabeth then became obsessed with Circus Baby, and after possessing the animatronic, the two began to share memories. Elizabeth's soul allowed the endoskeleton to comprehend its emotions. As before becoming Circus Baby, it was made alive with Henry's fury and neglect. Now, as a singular entity, Elizabeth was made vengeful by her father's disappointment and her own desperation. She hates humanity for being born with feelings but no intelligence, as it allows them to be hurt like she was. Still, Elizabeth loves William and typically follows his orders, although she is made very hateful by the knowledge that she still isn't enough for him. She comes off as polished and confident, unable to shake an elegant posture. This and her robotic demeanor are often simply used to hide her vulnerabilities. However, and when upset, Elizabeth will lose her composure. She is still a bit childish, I wonder why, and is easily entertained at times. Elizabeth can be rather cruel and sadistic, getting a rush out of being violent and powerful. She also has a strong hatred of Charlie, surpassing her love of William so much Elizabeth disobeys him and tries to kill her. This stems from him specifically wanting Charlie, and Elizabeth being jealous of the fact that Charlie lived a life despite lacking a soul, which Elizabeth never got a life. Doesn't it physically appear in the silver-eyed endoskeleton does through numerous flashbacks. She wondered if it was hurting and tried to ask Henry, but decides not to and goes back to playing. Later incorrectly assumes it became Foxy. The endoskeleton as Foxy later appears in one of Charlie's nightmares, breaking into her childhood home and chasing her upstairs until stopped by Henry. Following her 18th birthday, she begins to feel incomplete and constantly has nightmares involved a sealed door, which she can feel the presence of someone else behind. Believing this to be her twin brother Sammy, she decides to move in with Jessica at St. George and attend college there. When the nightmares persist, Charlie returns to her father's now heavily damaged house with John and discovers a secret room under her old bedroom. Charlie feels drawn to one blank wall of the room, but before she can investigate further, she and John are attacked by Twisted Foxy. Later, after an encounter with Springtrap and the other Twisted animatronics, Henry's house begins to collapse. Clay, Jessica, and John manage to escape through the secret room of the house, but Charlie stays behind after noticing the wall flickering. Eventually, the illusion finally fully fades and the sealed-off door is revealed. Before Charlie can see what's behind it, she's attacked and seemingly killed by Twisted Freddy. Yep, and then Elizabeth pulls up and John's like, that's not Charlie. Elizabeth successfully tricks everyone but John and Clay into thinking she is the real Charlie and lives normally with her friends, shopping for clothes and going out to eat together. She also moves out of the dorm Charlie and Jessica shared and begins throwing away nearly everything Henry made, even refusing to take Ella after Clay found her in the wreckage of Henry's house. In private, Elizabeth manages to find William Afton and aids him in creating a new restaurant called Circus Baby's Pizza, where she operates as the main mascot. She also begins abducting children, kidnapping 3 within the 6 months she had been free. Right before the restaurant's grand opening, Elizabeth arrives at a junkyard to find the animatronics from Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. She tells Bob, who runs the junkyard, that she wants to take a look around to find something specific, even having paperwork on the exact date and location the scrap metal arrived from. He explains they don't catalog the stuff in the dump, so Elizabeth reveals she knows he heard screaming last night and blindly ran into the yard to rescue what he thought were several trapped children. She asks what Bob found, and when he claims he found nothing, she demands he take her to where the screams were. Great. Okay. Yeah, okay, so all of this is like really good evidence. So I'm literally gonna grab this. Are any of his other children ever mentioned? Speculation. Are his other children ever mentioned? I don't know. Yeah, no. I guess not. Aliases, family members. Yeah, she's the only one. Okay. I do want to see. Oh, it's not done. Okay, Oswald. Does he get shot? Differing adaptations of Into the Story. How does the real one end? Is it the interactive novel where he gets shot? Return to the pit. Multiple endings where you get killed by a car. Okay. And there goes Jeff's Pizza. Has a nightmare about drowning in the ball pit. They get in a car accident. Exist in the ball pit for all time. Hypnotizes him. Singular dead kid. He gets killed. Follows the yellow rabbit. If he doesn't have a flashlight, he'll die. If he does, he'll have a spring lock failure. Okay. He's stuck in 1985 forever. Awesome. He sees the MCI. Awesome. If he exits into the in an alley, hears someone crying for help. If he ignores them, time catches up to him, and he ages several decades before reaching his current year. He's declared missing. If he follows the voice, he ends up being pushed down cellar stairs, breaking his head open. Awesome. Before he dies, he sees the voice belongs to a small pigtailed clown girl, either Eleanor or a plush baby. Awesome. If Oswald retreats back into the pit when he sees his father yelling at him, he's grabbed and killed. Awesome. And he attempts to escape the rabbit while it drags him to the car. He'll be hit by said car. Cool. If he goes to a neighbor for help, the neighbor is replaced by Chica, who helps the rabbit kill him. Cool. If he runs down the street, he'll either be hit by the rabbit in the car, or you can join up with an adult version of Chip. Okay, so it looks like it's like an It thing, where they team up. But then the team leader is replaced by the rabbit. Attempting to call out the replacement, he'll be imprisoned and killed. Attempting to attack the rabbit with Gabrielle will result in both of them being killed. If he plays along and follows the group, the rabbit bites off Chip's head and starts a gunfight. Oswald finds his father in the pit just as he's shot and killed by a stray bullet. No, there's no way to survive this route. Awesome. Second route talks about Greek mythology, tells him of Will, which Greek mythology story she tells him of Will determine whether he lives or dies when returning to the pit to find his father. At night, Oswald must sneak out of the house. Unlike the game, going through his bedroom window results in him falling and breaking his neck. Cool. Putting on the yellow rabbit ears results in Oswald becoming hypnotized into accepting the rabbit as his father and becoming part of his happy bunny family. He can attempt to drug the rabbit, which results in failure and death. Cool. Upon succeeding in killing the rabbit and saving his dad, Oswald will leave Jeff's Pizza and potentially find half a gold token, getting the neutral ending. Secret ending. So you need the gold coin. You play 8-bit escape, you get transported into the game, you rescue the MCI before they can get killed. Once giving them cake, he finds himself back in the present. The MCI never happened and the economy is now booming. That's fun. Let's do something else. Let's try to find some FNAF WillCare evidence. To see FNAF Theories Evidence Playlist. No, okay. Maybe I shouldn't look up WillCare. Maybe I should look up William Afton loved his children. What about that? Okay. There's a video from Horror Lore Keeper about if William Afton actually loved his son. Let's watch that.
Hey guys. Or gets most
Okay. Let's watch this. Yippee.
complicated bonds in the franchise. Michael Afton's twisted relationship with William Afton. We're going to walk through what these two look like across their forms, how they behave when the story forces them into the same room, the timeline that welds son to father from the house era to the final burn, and the biggest theories about whether Michael's crusade is loyalty, revenge, or something in between. We'll hit appearance, behavior, story, and theories. So sit back, relax, and let's dive back into the world of FNAF. First, let's put this in the right corner of the universe. This relationship lives across three main zones: the Afton home in the Bite era memories, The sister location underground facility where orders become obedience and obedience becomes a trap, and the pizzeria simulator site that's secretly a crematorium for ghosts. If we were to tour it, the house is cramped hallways and a bedroom door that never quite shuts. Sister location is an elevator that exhales cold air, a private room humming with false comfort, and a scooping room that looks like an operating theater built by a carnival. Pizzeria simulator is cheerful vinyl floors on top and, below, salvage chairs bolted to concrete, vents that breathe, sprinklers that won't save anyone. That's the geography of a father and son who only speak clearly when the lights are off. Before the psychology, let's see them the way the games show them. Michael appears in two bodies, the older brother's silhouette, lanky and humanoid, foxy mask dangling, laughter that curves.
Is this AI? Is this an AI voiceover? 3 comments, all hidden. Cool. Please decline and fall. Who was his favorite child? Let's watch this one.
Although a question like William Afton's favorite child might not be that significant to the FNAF lore overall, I've always been one to overanalyze the little things. Plus, I have always found these characters super interesting, and I think if we figure out their relationships with each other, it could potentially help figure out the lore as well. That is why today I decided to take everything we know about the Afton children to try and deduce who the menace that is William Afton would favor over the rest. So, let's jump right in. First, I think we should go over each of the kids and their respective traits, actions over the course of the story, and any other information we have about them. First, let's start with the crying child. We don't get much about his personality, other than the fact that he is pretty shy, anxious, probably, and doesn't talk much over the course of the games. All he does is, well, cry, really, and then he is killed by his older brother. He is also most likely the middle child of the Afton children, and he didn't live a very long life. I mean, none of them did, but the poor kid died on his birthday, and I'd say his age is anywhere between 6 to 10 years old. The poor dude is also absolutely terrified of the animatronics, not the characters themselves, but just the robots in general. As we know, he has plushies of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, and Fredbear, so he's obviously not creeped out by the characters, just the fact that they're robots. After his death, the most widely accepted theory is that he goes on to possess Golden Freddy along with the Vengeful Spirit or
Any WillCare centric. There's this one. I've already started it,
Let's repeat.
but
Would William Afton murder his children?
yes.
Are you kidding? Okay, I'm kidding. But seriously, I've gotten this question a few times after a recent Crying Child Bite of 87 retcon video. And while this makes this question topical, I also had the video suggested to me by Marcio Hack. Though instead of this video being about why William would kill his kids, the request was to tackle the fact that some of the fan base see William as a good father who just fell off the beaten path after the loss of his kids, or is just trying to bring them back. Yeah, no, that's one of the few things in FNAF lore that we can debunk. I mean, Elizabeth was killed by a robot that William built to kill kids, so... But let's get into that.
True.
But first, let me say something. If you have like an AU where William is a good person or a good father, then that is totally fine. And I'm not saying you can't portray an alternate universe where William is a good father. And this isn't a response to that. This is really just more trash talking Willie. And once we get to the end of this video, you'll see why that was a good thing. So before we get into each child individually, let's start with something a little more abstract. Afton's relationship with his children seems to be based off of the narcissistic family unit. The sort of typical or outlined version of this, usually having a narcissistic parent with a golden child, a scapegoat child, and possibly a third forgotten lost child. And yes, those are actually the terms, and I will explain.
True.
them. Of course, in real families this can vary, but in the case of the Aftons, this seems to be very purposeful and on point. Let me explain these terms a little better. Narcissists and narcissistic parents have traits such as an inflated self-ego and a feeling of importance